So welcome back, everybody. Thought I would take time to make this video while I had a rare opportunity with two almost identical tractors here, but with two completely different grapples. Having used grapples for the last few years, it's one of those attachments you wonder why you have never had one and how did you ever live without one. These are such handy attachments for cleanup, brush, tops, vines, moving logs around, and just general cleanup. It just so happens I had my friend's tractor here. This used to be the one on the channel, and a good friend of mine bought it quite a while back, and I just installed him a diverter valve because he decided he wanted to buy himself a grapple. I convinced him to buy this particular grapple after looking online because, well, it was a very good price, but it had an amazing feature that I think a lot of people overlook. So by the way, this is not my tractor, this is not my grapple, none of this over here is sponsored, but this is what we're going to talk about today before I return it to my friend after doing all the service for him. So let's go over some grapple basics while I have a rare opportunity to compare two side by side on compact tractors. Your 25 horse tractors like the Solus H24s right here, 24.8 horsepower, are by far probably the most common size tractor a lot of people are picking up for small acreages right now. And a grapple is something that people look into. But there is different style grapples, and after using them over the last few years, I have learned a lot about grapples. They're not all created equal. So let's go over some of the features and why I'm actually very excited about this model right here that my friend just picked up. So for starters, let's take a look at your two most common types of grapples. This right here is probably by far the most common style you're going to see. It's got the elongated teeth on the bottom for scooping in under logs, and then it's got a solid clamp up top. Some will have single clamps on either side, so two, or a solid piece like this. That's up to you. I do a lot of brush work, so I kind of prefer the big solid clamping top. And it's very common to have two cylinders, one cylinder on this side, one cylinder over there pinching this close. I would say this is the most common size style that I see, especially as far as looks goes, the elongated teeth under the bottom side. And I love this grapple. I've had really good luck with it. However, I have noticed from day one, this grapple doesn't grab as much brush as I'd like. I just chalked that up to being a compact tractor and a compact tractor grapple. I have a huge wide opening grapple for my John Deere and love it. So whenever I seen this particular grapple over here from Titan Attachments, I told my friend, that's the one you should get. And here's the reason why after me having experience. So as you can see, this is a much different style grapple right here. Doesn't have the elongated tines and teeth, so it doesn't have the traditional look. It's got the short, almost dozer blade style. And let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room here. This, my friends, is the widest opening compact tractor grapple I have personally ever seen. And that is a huge selling point and something I just don't hear enough people talk about. So here is mine on the front of my tractor. Take a look at the opening and then compare it to that grapple over there. You're talking another 16 to 18 inches of opening to grab things. That is huge, my friends. It really is. Let's also talk about this style bottom end right here. Got the elongated teeth over there again for curling under logs, but let's be realistic. These tractors don't have super high lift capacities. This one has a little over 900 pounds lifting capacity. That one has been recently beefed up. The H24 Plus has over 1,400 pounds. Now we're starting to get some decent lifting capacity for a compact tractor. But ultimately what you're going to be going after with these is tree, brush, and just general cleanup. I said all that to say, people aren't typically getting compact tractors with smaller lift capacities for lifting huge logs. You're going after bigger tractors for that. So the elongated teeth style is not as beneficial as people may think. I actually really prefer this style. So because this has the straight, almost dozer blade style, imagine if we just have brush piled up here everywhere. I may go back and find some clips of me pushing with my John Deere to show you, because it's got a similar style to this. So ultimately think about this. What you're going to do is go in, start pushing all that brush until it just bunches up. Then you will take this huge wide opening as you push into your brush pile, say it's right here, you'll roll the entire grapple over and then you'll crunch it all together, curl back, lift up, and go off about your business. So long story short, you can get a ton more brush and an opening on a style like this than you can that one. That just means quicker and speedier cleanup. Here's the other benefit to brush. Typically brush is very lightweight. It's small limbs, but it's big. It's got V's in it. It's bushy tops. So you need a huge opening to get over all that, crunch it into a ball to grip it, to haul it off to your trash pile or your dump trailer, wherever you're carrying it. On a style like this, it's really hard to get a good bite. And until you've run both, you just don't understand how important that is to have an opening this big. I have no idea what the model of this is. Like I said, my friend ordered it, got it in. See, here's a tag. It's the LDRAKE 48, so it's 48 inches wide. And I'll put a link down in the description for you as well if you want to check that out. Now, when it comes to the single cylinder, no big deal. This has a huge shaft on it, whereas mine has two small shafts. This still looks even a little beefier, to be honest with you, but we're running dual cylinders over here, so that makes a heck of a difference. Now, the only other thing that I don't have here to compare is a third style that has, instead of a single clamp up top, two individual clamps. Those work really, really well when you have uneven, say, logs, for example. There's a big burl on one end or a V and split over here. Sometimes with this style, when you go in to grab a log, if one side's a lot bigger than the other, you're only pinching on one side and the log can want to roll out on you. If I did a ton of log work, I probably would have a grapple with independent moving clamps up top. Now, whenever it comes to doing a whole bunch of brush, I find these work just fine because these have enough power that they're going to crunch all the brush down and you're going to get a grip no matter what. All right, so what it comes down to at the end of the day, if you're doing a lot of log work, I tend to like the low teeth style clamp on this right here. If you're going to be doing a lot of pushing and brush work, I kind of like this dozer blade style, and I definitely prefer the much wider opening clamp right here. This is something you need to really consider as you're purchasing your first tractors, going after your first grapples. What's your intended use? Now, just to double check that this still picks up logs just fine, it's got the teeth up front, but it's nowhere near as aggressive as, say, this style right here as far as getting physically around a log. We're going to go pick up a big log with this right here and see if it actually clamps and holds it or if it lets it slip and roll out. That could be a negative to a style like this if you're doing a lot of log work or picking up just cylindrical round objects, maybe fence posts and other things as that. But this should also have enough clamping force that it should hold on that no matter what. All right, well, it looked like this style right here picked up logs, big fence posts, telephone poles, no problem. If I were personally shopping in the future, just seeing how much brush work I do with compact tractors, I'm pretty sure I would go for the largest opening style that I could possibly find over the deep bottom teeth right here. But what you're typically going to find is welded in cross supports like you see here. The tubes, well, they're going to limit how far your teeth can go down anyways. Looks like both of these around 3 to 4 inches is all you can get, but most people are not tearing up ground with grapples, using them as root rakes. They're using them for the actual clamping ability. Now you're going to notice mine has a lot thinner material because you got to keep weight down on compact tractors. That's something to keep in mind. But it's got a lot more welded in gussets to help make up for the light material difference. For example, you see all the gussets on the teeth right here, whereas these teeth are left independent but made out of much thicker material. Looks like 3/8 material. That looks like 3/16 to maybe quarter, probably 3/16, but we're gusseted in to get our strength back. Where we got box tubing right here, that's very strong stuff. Round tubing over here. I mean, I don't see a problem with either one, to be honest with you. Now you can see we're running thinner, looks like 1/4 inch material down here. Back to that 3/8 everywhere here. I mean, this looks like a very well-made unit. It really does. Now, specs on the website, I see anywhere from 275 pounds to 330 pounds. The 330 pounds may be including the crate that it's shipped in. The 275 may be as is. That's also very important and something you got to keep in mind whenever you're shopping for grapples with small tractors. 900 something pound lifting capacity. We want to get as light of a grapple as we can so we still have as much available lift capacity as possible. There is a risk that the lighter the material you go, the more likely you are to bend it. Now when you start getting into a tractor with much higher lift capacity like this H24 Plus, these are almost identical tractors except the front end has been beefed up, the loader's a little different, and much higher lift capacity, 1,400 pounds. Well, you could start beefing up the unit if you want to, but I would much rather stay as light as possible and not abuse my equipment and get as much lifting capacity as I possibly can. While I have you here, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Again, not sponsored. This is not mine. My friend bought it. Let's take a look at the welds, the attachment points. I see some things I really like about it. Obviously, the opening is by far the biggest selling point to this. I'm really shocked to see 3/8 steel. I mean, this looks really beefy. We don't have stuff sticking out so far. I don't think he's gonna have too much problem with bending. We can take a look at the welds. It is what it is. I see some welds that aren't full. I see some rusting going on. Again, over here, at least gussets and all are fully welded out. So I wouldn't say the welds are the world's best, but for the price points that these run in, I guess it is what it is. One design I really do not like about this Titan attachments right here, and something he and him need to fix, I do not like this clip style right here for these pins. Really, those pins should be drilled out and there should be a bolt through there or a better clasp. I can eventually see as you're picking up a lot of brush, these retaining pins, clips getting popped right out and you eventually having your pin fall out. That's something that I have mentioned to him we probably should address, or they should have a style like this right here. Perfect. It should be drilled out. See how that's got a pin that goes through with a cotter pin? That right there is not going to come out. I would love to see that on the rear. I think that's a design asking for problems right here. This also came with full length hoses. They're actually way too long, but I guess they do that no matter what size tractor you put it on, you're covered. You can loop them up. It came with flat face couplers. I thought that was a nice touch. Got a cylinder protector. That's very, very important because you're gonna be shoving this thing in a lot of brush. I mean, overall, other than just some, lower end welds, which is kind of typically what you get on more affordable pieces of equipment, it's not bad. Yeah, I think he's gonna have a hard time bending this. I was telling him, get prepared. Light duty grapples, you're just gonna bend, especially if you really put them to work, but this is made out of thicker material than I was expecting. All right, well, I actually had not intended to make this video. I'm about to load this up and carry it back to my friend. Just been doing the work for him for the last few days. I've got the shop and the tools to do that. Like I said, got his diverter valve installed so he can start running front attachments like this. And I was like, you know what, before I load this up, let me pull this out here because I'm really, really liking this grapple for a compact tractor. Again, it's by far the widest opening grapple I've ever seen. And I was like, maybe I should share that point with our viewers because I know a lot of you watch this for tractor content. After running grapples for a couple years on my big John Deere and this smaller grapple on my little Solus tractor out here, I see the benefits and the differences between them. Hopefully you learned a little something today. Again, not sponsored by Titan, although I'm gonna look and see if this model is available on Amazon. I'm gonna put a link down in the description that will be an affiliate link since I'm an Amazon affiliate. If it's not sold on there, I'll just put a direct link to wherever I can find this.